While the built-in audio features in Final Cut Pro X may be more than adequate for some projects, most professional post-production work relies on the skills of dedicated audio engineers working in digital audio workstations like Pro Tools or Logic. In wrapping up this training, we'll take a look at two methods for getting your audio where it needs to go once you've completed your project inside of Final Cut. The first is the built-in feature called Rolls, while the second is the dedicated software package for Pro Tools collaboration called X2 Pro. You start working with Rolls by opening the timeline index. Click the Rolls category for a list of built-in roles currently in a project. Every piece of media imported into Final Cut Pro is assigned a role. Out of the box, there are roles for video, titles, dialogue, music, and effects. While Final Cut automatically assigns roles on import, you can reassign media to different roles and add your own categories. Now, why are roles such a big deal? Well, in general, they allow you to sort and separate your media into distinct categories. If you're working on a project with multiple deliverables, like a multi-language piece, you can keep track of which elements belong to which version with roles. But for audio, roles are most useful for controlling how audio is exported. Let's take a look. Open a project, and as you select various clips in the timeline, you'll see in the Info Inspector that they're assigned to different roles. We'll create some custom roles and assign sounds to them accordingly. In the inspector, click the Roles menu and select Edit Roles. This is also available via the Modify menu. At lower left, you can click to create new audio or video roles. In this case, however, we actually want to create new audio effect roles, but we want to distinguish between Foley effects and background effects. So instead of creating new roles, we'll create sub-roles instead. Select the Effects role category, then click the Add Sub-role button. Rename the sub-role Background, and then create another called Foley. That's it. You can now select different audio clips in the timeline and assign appropriate roles in the Info Inspector. Notice too that for video with accompanying audio, you can select distinct roles for both the audio and video media associated with the clip, and that for the most common presets, you can use the Control-Option hotkeys to quickly assign them without having to visit the inspector. Okay, so you've assigned the appropriate roles to your various audio clips. What now? Well, firstly, you can quickly enable and disable various media right from the timeline index. This is great for quickly toggling between different language versions, for example. But the real power for audio comes during export. Choose Share, Export Media. Click the Export menu to look at the available options. Here you can choose to export roles as a multi-track QuickTime file, separate files for each role, or even export each audio file in a role as a separate file, often referred to as an audio stem. These options give you a huge amount of flexibility when working with a professional sound engineer. It allows you to give her exactly what she needs to finalize the mix without the risk of forgetting an audio element tucked away in your timeline somewhere. In the Roles tab, you can choose which roles are exported and whether they'll be treated as mono, stereo, or surround files. Click the minus button next to any role you don't want to export. Click Next and choose a location for the export. That's it. Final Cut Pro X exports exactly what you need thanks to the convenience of roles. Now, while roles go a long way to providing an audio engineer with what they need to complete your mix, you may want to give a Pro Tools engineer a complete assembled timeline. And for that, there's X2 Pro. X2 Pro, available on the Mac App Store, builds on Final Cut Pro's roles system by transferring your timeline to Pro Tools with separate tracks for each roll of audio in your Final Cut Pro timeline. With X2 Pro installed, select your project and choose File, Export XML. In X2 Pro, select the exported XML file confirm the bit depth you want, and click Convert. You may get warnings indicating what is unsupported in the export. Usually, you can just ignore these. Now, just locate the exported AAF file and load it into Pro Tools. That's it. So, not only does Final Cut Pro X include a full host of audio editing and enhancement tools, but it's also fully capable of exporting your mix for professional audio editing in Pro Tools or Logic. So you can finish everything yourself or trust the final sound of your project to your favorite audio pro.